There are lots of different types of vampires in the Vampire Diaries universe, but what exactly differentiates them? How strong are they? And what are their strengths and weaknesses? This is what we're going to be discovering today in explaining every single vampire in the Vampire Diaries universe.
And what's this?
No!
Anyone, anytime, anyplace.
Firstly, we have regular vampires or non-original vampires or sired vampires. This type of vampire is by far the hardest to actually pinpoint just how strong they actually are, because it very much varies, because the youngest of them is around a day old or even younger, and the oldest of them are over 1,000 years old. But there is an easy way to actually rank each individual vampire within this vampire subclass, which is the age of the vampire. And this is where the first misconception of vampires in general actually comes from, because a lot of people generally assume that vampires actually get stronger as they age. This isn't necessarily what age equals strength actually means for vampires. Age equals strength refers to when you are turned, not how long you've been a vampire for. This is mainly because they don't get the original spell directly from the caster. The more closer you are to when the originals were turned shows just how strong you are. So a person that is turned in the 1500s will always be stronger than somebody turned in the 1400s, even if they die for over 100 years. And we know this because of the originals. They don't actually get stronger as they age. This is very evident when Vincent said this.
And I mean to replicate that spell. I have everything I need to become what I deserve to be.
You want to become an original?
Do I look like the sort who'd settle for some shoddy original model? I intend to be an upgrade.
Vincent would assume that if the originals actually grow over time and were actually weaker than they are now. This is echoed with regular vampires because the later they turn, the more watered down the version of the spell they actually get, unlike the originals who actually get the spell directly. Hence why Julian was able to fight both Stefan and Damon at the exact same time without actually breaking a sweat. Even though Julian is younger than Catherine and died for over a century, so Julian theoretically shouldn't be able to actually do that if they actually age the way that a lot of people actually believe they do. So yeah, vampires get stronger based on when they turn, not how long they've actually been vampires for. But what exactly are their supernatural abilities? Well, they're a lot stronger than the strongest humans, and they're also immortal, and they can actually compel people. Compulsion is just a type of mind control in which you tell someone to do something and they do it no matter what the request actually is. However, they can only compel humans and humans alone. They also have heightened senses. They can sense people from a great distance away, and they're also a lot more durable than any mortal, and sometimes even certain supernatural beings. However, there are conditions and limitations to their durability, which brings me on to their actual weaknesses. If you rip out their heart, stake them in the heart, or behead them, they die. They can also die to fire or any form of being burned completely alive. This includes direct sunlight, because without their daylight ring or daylight amulet on, they would actually burn to it, sometimes even to death, if they're dead for too long. However, any form of damage that doesn't actually kill them outright, they will heal from it very quickly. There's also the anti-magic barrier that can kill them, the cure that can kill them, a werewolf venom that can kill them, and the super venom that can also kill them. However, with both venoms, you can actually cure it, but you need to be very quick. With the super venom, it works a lot faster than regular venom. You probably would die within minutes. If you're a regular vampires, originals take a lot longer to die. For regular werewolf venom, you need Klaus's blood, and for the super venom, you need a concussion that Freya made in season 4. Also, a witch can overwhelm them, Vervain can actually damage them, and also if a human is actually in contact with Vervain, they are incapable of actually being able to compel them. And finally, any original can actually compel them. Now we've gone through everything about non-original vampires, it's best to note that within this classification, there are also subclasses.
Kill this one quickly. Make that one suffer. I'll be in the car.
Please don't. Please.
Rippers are probably the most popular version of regular vampires, mainly because of Stefan Salvatore. Ripper shares the exact same strength and weaknesses that regular vampires do. However, the only difference between them is that Rippers have a very different feeding habits to regular vampires. Rippers can't control themselves around human blood. They're basically vampires with rabies. They can't control how they feed, and they're a lot more sadistic than regular vampires. They are basically vampires that are hungry all the time. In fact, the perfect description of Rippers was perfectly done by Dorian in Legacy.
Ripper is a vampire who is driven by obsession, who lives only for the gratification of their deepest desires. A Ripper will feed until there is nothing left to feed on, and then they'll move on to the next and the next.
Anyways, just like Rippers, there's also a similar subclass of regular vampires with a slight difference.
What's happening to you?
I'm gonna go ahead and say karma. Karma is happening to me.
Damon, stop!
Augustine vampires or Augustine Rippers are basically like regular Rippers, but instead of with human blood that they physically can't control themselves around, this time it's with vampire blood. As in, they hunt primarily around vampires and they physically can't control themselves around vampires, and they're just as violent as Rippers are when it comes to feeding. Also, Augustine vampires are much stronger than what their age actually is, due to the fact that they were actually genetically altered. For example, we actually saw Jesse, who is only like a few days, even a few hours old, being able to overpower Damon, who is over a century. And we also saw Damon overpower Tyler, who we saw fight on par with Nadia. But anyways, that's all for the regular types of non-original vampires. Now on to the different types of hybrids.
Goodbye.
Firstly, we have the most common type of non-original hybrid being the regular vampire / werewolf hybrid. These types of vampires harness the strength of both regular vampires and werewolves. This allows them to be actually much stronger than what their age actually should have made them seem. Hence why we actually saw Tyler being able to overpower Nadia, who is over 500 years old, and how we saw Haley be able to fight multiple Strix, even though a lot of them are also centuries old. And both of them at that point were less than a year to 2 years old. They share all the strengths of a regular vampire. However, the thing that differentiates them is their weaknesses. Yes, just like the same as regular vampires, they also could be compelled by originals. They also die to a heart rip or getting their head decapitated. You can also burn them to death. However, a stake to the heart cannot kill them, and they are immune to sunlight, as in sunlight has no effect on them, due to the fact that they are also part werewolf. They can also compel humans, and unlike werewolves from other medium, they are immune to silver. Also, unlike regular werewolves, they can control how and when they turn, and they can turn instantly. However, due to the fact that they are of the species of both vampires and werewolves, both Vervain and Wolfsbane could actually damage them.
I didn't want to live under Julian's thumb. So that night, as we crossed the Atlantic, I drew myself a bath, laced my tea with laudanum, and went quietly to sleep. But I died with Lily's blood in my system. And by virtue of pure happenstance, I became the first heretic.
Now on to the second type of hybrids, heretics. Heretics are non-original vampires and a witch hybrid. Naturally, this is impossible because you can't be both a servant of nature and be an abomination to nature. You lose your magic the very moment that you become immortal. However, due to the fact that siphoners don't naturally have magic, as in they don't have innate magic that they are born with, they can only take it from other people or from other sources, they can actually still be able to use magic even after becoming a vampire. This is due to the fact that they are actually siphoning the magic within their blood or their vampire blood, which allows them to actually do spells that what regular witches could do. and also be able to actually use their vampire side to physically fight. They share the same abilities as regular vampires, obviously with the added benefit of being a witch on top of that. And they also could technically, although not completely confirmed yet, but they can technically siphon off said compulsion if they actually know that they've been compelled. Doesn't mean that they're immune to compulsion, but they can probably siphon it off after finding out that they were actually compelled. They can die the same way how regular vampires die to pretty much all the things that regular vampires can die to. However, they are also immune to sunlight just like other hybrids. They can also heal any affliction that's caused by magic. Meaning, although they're still affected by werewolf venom or the super venom, they are still able to siphon it. However, it's unknown if they're actually capable of siphoning the super venom to its entirety. And just like all regular vampires or regular vampire hybrids, they can also be compelled by originals.
I already did.
There really isn't much known about this type of hybrid due to the fact that there is only one person that is a vamp dragon hybrid. The things I know about them is that they're extremely durable, much more durable than a regular vampire or even a regular hybrid or any form of hybrid that isn't an original. They can breathe fire and they can fly.
Get away from her!
She's mine.
Original vampires are the progenitors of the vampire race, as in they are the oldest vampires. However, unlike regular vampires, originals aren't really affected by age. This is due to the fact that they get the spell directly. Based on how powerful the spell is made, dictates on how powerful the original is going to be. However, any type of original, no matter how weak they actually are, is still going to be stronger than any form of regular vampire. No matter if they're hybrids or not, they're still going to be much stronger and much harder to kill.
Gentlemen, shall we?
The lowest tier of original vampires are the regular ones, or the non-original hybrids, or the originals that didn't get a more powerful version of the spell. This includes Elijah, Rebecca, Cole, Finn, and Michael. With Michael, it's kind of up in the air because a lot of people actually believe that Michael is an enhanced original, but that's more up for debate. I also kind of believe that because it wouldn't make sense for what actually happened between him and Klaus for him to just be a regular original vampire. Because we know that Klaus, when he was still a human, he actually beat Michael when he was at full strength, when he wasn't actually limited by the necklace. So there's no way that Michael should be able to actually beat Klaus when they fought later on, after Klaus broke his hybrid curse and became an original hybrid. And as we already established, a werewolf and a vampire hybrid basically just mix the strengths of both species together at its fullest. So if Klaus is able to beat Michael easily when they were still humans, Klaus should be able to beat Michael when they're actually still vampires, because that Klaus didn't fully transform into a werewolf, and as a hybrid, he's able to harness the power of a werewolf while still being a vampire. But anyways, let's get into the abilities. This tier of original actually have every single strength that a regular vampire has, with a few additions. Which is that the thing that can actually kill regular vampires don't kill originals. As in, they can't die from sunlight, you can't burn them to death, you can't use a regular stake to kill them, you can't behead them, and you can't rip out their heart. With the heart thing, there's a few contradictions with statements from Rebecca, but all in all, even if you do be able to actually remove their heart, they won't die from it. Completely destroying the heart doesn't really kill them because they eventually will just come back to life anyways. The vein doesn't really do much to them either because they heal from it very quickly. Regular werewolf bites can't kill them, although it can affect them, and they can actually compel regular vampires or regular hybrids. This includes all the different tiers of hybrids just because they are all part vampire. Although yes, it's almost impossible to actually kill an original. However, if you actually have enough magic, you can actually kill them. A White Oak Stake can kill them, the Super Venom can kill them, and if you have White Oak Ash on a Silver Dagger, you can actually incapacitate them as long as the dagger stays within their heart. But anyways, on to the third tier.
Who are you?
The important question is, who am I? Please, forgive the intrusion. My name is Klaus.
You're the hybrid.
You've heard of me.
Fantastic.
Tier 3 originals or original hybrids share the exact same abilities as regular originals. They also share the exact same weaknesses. However, there are a few differences, primarily due to the fact that they're harnessing their werewolf side and the original side at the exact same time. So they're much stronger than a tier 4 original or regular original, and they are slightly more harder to kill, due to the fact that silver can't permanently damage them because they heal from it. So the wild ash or silver dagger would not work on an original hybrid. However, Cole was able to find a loophole to this by creating the golden daggers, which would act the same way how the silver daggers also act for regular originals. They also possess a werewolf bite that could incapacitate a tier 4 original and would kill any and all regular vampires that aren't hybrids. Today, the only person that exists within this tier is Klaus Mikaelson. Anyways, now on to tier 2 originals.
Listen to me. It's done. It's over.
You don't understand. He drank the serum. He wanted you to kill him. You helped him take the final step.
Tier 2 originals or magically altered originals are split into two. You have Alaric, or what people tend to call enhanced originals, and you have Lucian and Marcel, who are upgraded originals, or what people tend to call the serum originals or the serum vampires. Both these types of originals are the physically strongest type of originals, as in they are much stronger than original hybrids and much stronger than regular originals. They are also almost impossible to kill, as in way harder to kill than regular originals or original hybrids. And this is where the differentiation actually comes from between the two different types, or enhanced originals and upgraded originals. With the enhanced originals, Alaric, there wasn't really much to actually kill him. The only thing that could actually do much to him was obviously the cure, which can turn him back into a human, and you also have the anti-magic barrier, which can revert him back into a human and ultimately kill him. And you obviously have the super venom, which is possessed by upgraded originals, which could outright kill him. The super venom is the only thing that can actually kill him consistently, other than when his life was actually tied to Elena's. When you actually kill Elena, then he dies. But after Elena actually died and became a vampire, at that point there's really nothing that could kill him but the super venom. With upgraded originals, they are even harder to kill, as in the only thing that could really take him down is obviously the knife that was created by Freya and magic, like lots and lots of magic. And really and truly, you would have to avert them, because to kill them outright is almost impossible. As in, I think only like a few people that actually have that level of power to actually do that. So yeah, that's the only difference between the two, because they're both just as strong as each other. It just happens to be that they have a slight difference in terms of their vulnerability. Both could also kind of compare originals, but you would have to weaken an original's mind for them to actually do that. But yeah, they're the strongest vampires in the verse. Nothing could really kill them, bar for the things that actually stated. As in, everything that could kill an original wouldn't be able to actually kill them, except for the super venom for Alaric. Anyways, now we've gone through the strongest vampire. What is the most powerful vampire? Which are who are ranked as tier 1.
Something. Seems like a moment.
It's okay. No, we're done here. And so are you.
Tier 1 originals, or the Tribade basically just hope, is the most powerful vampire in the entire verse, as in she is by far the hardest to kill and would absolutely dog walk any vampire she actually faces, including the magically altered vampires. Hope is by far the most powerful witch in the verse, and she is also at the level in terms of physical strength as Klaus, if not stronger or slightly weaker. Every single weakness I've stated for every single vampire would not work with Hope, because Hope is just far too powerful and far too durable for it to actually work. We know that Hope is so powerful that not even a god could actually outright kill her with his own power. She needs the Red Oak. The Red Oak is the only thing that could actually kill Hope, which is just a stake or a tree that Hope was actually able to create with Josie. Without anything to do with the Red Oak, none of it will be able to outright kill Hope. It is almost impossible. The anti-magic barrier wouldn't work because that isn't enough power to actually do much to Hope, as we actually saw a god use all of his strength and still couldn't kill Hope. The cure as well probably falls in the same category as well. The super venom is the only thing I could say might be a flaw to Hope, but that is kind of unconfirmed. So yeah, apart from Ken from Legacies, Hope is probably the most powerful being in the verse, and it's also the most powerful vampire, although whether or not she's the strongest vampire is really up for debate. If you want to see my ranking for the top 10 strongest vampires in the verse, then click the video that's on screen now. And also if you like the video, then like and subscribe to help the channel grow.